This is the Dollemore Daily, and I'm Jesse Dollemore.
So Donald Trump gave his own little version of the State of the Union address last night. And of course, it was filled to the brim, chock full of lies. Reprehensible lies, because he's a reprehensible liar. It's a strange thing when there's so many points of data that you could point to make a case for your candidacy in 2024. Sure, there's things that could be improved. There's always improvement that we could be making. But rather than do that, he just makes up things and lies about them, especially things that could take a 20-second Google search to find out that he is just flatly wrong. Now, the problem with it is Republicans and Trump supporters especially, they don't care about the facts. If you point out a statistic, they go, well, that's just a conspiracy, that's a lie. So it's difficult to move the needle with those morons. But let me play this little clip of him that got turned into a campaign video, his State of the Union address, that everything's terrible and I'm the only one who can solve these problems, while misidentifying what the problems are. Watch this.
Here's the real State of the Union. Over the past 2 years under Biden, millions and millions of illegal aliens from 160 different countries have stormed across our southern border. Drug cartels are now raking in billions of dollars from smuggling poison to kill our people and to kill our children. Savage killers, rapists, and violent criminals are being released from jail to continue their crime wave. And under Biden, the murder rate has reached the highest in the history of our country. Biden and the radical Democrats have wasted trillions of dollars and caused the worst inflation in half a century. Real wages are down 21 months in a row. Gas prices have soared and are now going up much higher than even before. And the typical American family is paying $2,200 in increased energy and food costs each year. Joe Biden's weaponized Justice Department, and I'm a victim of it, is persecuting his political opponents. His administration is waging war on free speech. They're trying to indoctrinate and mutilate our children. He's leading us to the brink of World War III. And on top of all of that, he's the most corrupt president in American history, and it's not even close. But the good news is we are going to reverse every single crisis, calamity, and disaster that Joe Biden has created. I am running for president to end the destruction of our country and to complete the unfinished business of making America great again. We will make our country better than ever before, and we will always put America first. Thank you.
So look, let's address a couple of these. The murder rate is the highest in the history of the country, he proclaimed. With confidence. It's always with confidence with Donald Trump. It's Dunning-Kruger run amok. I don't know if Donald Trump is just an absolute dumb shit, just an unmitigated disaster of an intellect, or if he really or if he's like in on it. Because certainly the people who write the words that he speaks know the truth. You know, your Stephen Miller types, they're smart enough to know. I don't know about Donald Trump. Anyway, let's talk about the murder rate. I'll read from this Pew Research, show this graph here. Little piece of data. There was a roughly 30% increase in the U.S. murder rate between 2019 and 2020, marking one of the largest year-over-year increases ever recorded, but still well below the 90s. I wonder, speaking of Google searches, I wonder who was president between 2019 and 2020? Who was president of the United States then? If only there was a way to know, if only there was a way to know who was president during those 2 years. I guess we'll never know. We'll just leave it to the high-level researchers to know who was president when the murder rate increased roughly 30%. Weird. And then let me read from this NPR article, just a sentence or two. The murder rate is significantly lower than it was in the 1990s, Asher says, 30 to 40% lower, but much higher than it was just 3 or 4 years ago. And that is just where we are. Listen, it's not as cut and dry because crime statistics and data don't come in the way that health data does necessarily. Certain municipalities have to record their things, and there's no federal requirement to do so. The FBI reports sometimes come 10 months or a year later after the fact, so we don't really have a handle on it. But certainly, if you look at the chart here, you've got the 1970s, just before the 1970s, 8.1 murders per 100,000 in the United States. And then in the mid 70s, late 70s, it went up to 10.5 murders per 100,000. And it spiked again the early 80s, and then the 90s it was high, and then it came all the way down at the end of the Clinton administration. Some of this could be a health thing, that levels of lead in the air because of regular gasoline, not unleaded gas. We're just poisoning ourselves, and IQs went down, crime went up. Some of this is attributed to that. But to say that the murder rate right now is the highest it's ever been is just fundamentally, easily provable as wrong, as a lie. Donald Trump's State of the Union. But let's talk about the gas prices. He has some psychic ability to understand where gas prices are heading once again. When you look at the chart of where we are, yeah, gas prices spiked. They went insane, the highest levels we've ever seen. And they're coming back down to normal right now. They are, because you buy gas. And why is that? Is it because Joe Biden caused global gas prices to go crazy? The president of the United States affects gas prices all over the entire planet? Only a dumb shit would think that. Only a dumb. This is why. Profits for oil companies. If it was just a supply issue and they were charging this, they're just charging you what they're charging. They're just passing along the price increase. If that's what it was, there wouldn't be almost doubling of the profits for oil companies. This indicates the top Western energy companies' profits soared in 2022 amid volatility in energy markets in the wake of Russia's invasion of Ukraine. But if it was only because of them passing along the cost, it costs them more, they're just charging you more. They wouldn't show record insane profits. But because they are, we know it's price gouging. It is greed. It is immorality at the hands of these companies, who many of them pay very little taxes, comparatively speaking, relatively speaking, percentage-wise, than what you pay. They're gouging you at the pump, and then they're gouging you in taxes in what they pay to pay for basic services in the country. But Donald Trump's not going to tell you that. Republicans aren't going to tell you that. His little State of the Union isn't going to tell you that, because they're liars. They're agents of chaos. And the problem is, if you're a regular Fox News viewer, you're not going to know. They're not going to fact check. That's why people in my position and on certain other networks, it's important, the work we do. Because now you have a reference. You can go to the bottom of the description of this video and find the articles. Find the links to back up the things I'm saying. Talk to your neighbors, talk to your parents, talk to your grandparents, talk to your kids if they're MAGA morons, and show them the data. These data are what will set us free from the lies of Donald Trump. Anyway, I'd love to know what you think about all of this. You can call, leave me a brief voicemail, 714-576-4054. Of course, you can email me daily@dollemore.com. If you appreciate what I do, if I bring value to your day or to your week, please consider supporting my work. Click the join button. You can become a channel member for $2 a month. You can go over to my Patreon page, patreon.com/IDoubtItPodcast. Speaking of I Doubt It Podcast, I would love for you to subscribe to my twice weekly audio podcast. It is not this. It is not this turned into a podcast. It is a podcast hosted by myself and the lovely, talented, and wonderful Brittany Page. We'd love to have you there. Anyway, follow me on social media. I'm at Dollemore everywhere. And blah, blah, blah. It's all a bit much, is it not? Anyway, I'll see you next time. Until I do, be genuine. Take care of one another.